Bedlam erupted through the hallowed halls of Britain's royal courts of justice today as a mob of enraged tax collectors attempted to storm the proceedings and detain Prince Harry. The drastic scenes stemmed from the Duke of Sussex's controversial defiance of an order to repay millions of pounds to taxpayers after his latest losing legal battle against the UK media. As the increasingly reclusive Harry strode from the High Court with a phalanx of security following yet another privacy lawsuit dismissal, he was confronted by a jeering horde of revenue agents clad in chest-emblazoned revenue and customs vests. Leading the charge was Chief Tax Enforcement Commissioner Nigel Brocklehurst, who bellowed through a bullhorn demanding the prince's immediate detention for outstanding public debt. "In the name of Her Majesty's revenue and by authority vested in me by Parliament, I hereby demand the instantaneous remittance of £17.2 million taxpayer pounds illicitly conscripted to fund this unbecoming spectacle," the barrel-chested bureaucrat roared as Harry's bemused Scotland Yard Guard detail went into high alert. "Your dereliction of fiscal responsibilities and cavalier raiding of the public coffers ends today, sir." When the beleaguered Duke remarkably signaled his team to proceed escorting him through the blockading officers as if they were simply unruly protesters, all hell broke loose. Dozens of tax enforcers proceeded to physically block the convoy's path, some even attempting to employ restraining manacles on Harry before being neutralized by his armed bodyguards. In the ensuing melee, several agents were knocked to the pavement amid a torrent of smoke grenades, faceplants, and blaring siren mayhem more befitting a Hollywood action thriller than the grounds of Britain's highest court. An undeterred Prince Harry was eventually shepherded through the fray into an idling armored Jaguar that sped from the scene, leaving a wake of chaos and rampantly escalating consequences. The violent clashes quickly catalyzed into a full-blown administrative crisis for the government as aviation officials confirmed Harry's personal jet received final departure clearance and immediately commenced taxiing at a private aerodrome outside Birmingham. Interpol cooperation was hastily secured to ground the aircraft as it entered French airspace, now tentatively approved under the categorization of a domestic extremist leave-taking. Back in London, outrage deluged the airwaves and news feeds with virtually every political opposition contingent and media punditry voice universally condemning the Duke's anarchic refusal to abide by the court costs order as the height of tone-deaf aristocratic privilege run utterly amok. In declining to honor his legislated financial obligations, the blinkered prince has single-handedly catalyzed the most seismic constitutional conflagration since the abdication crisis, thundered Labour MP Ian Kravitz during an emergency session of Parliament demanded by the opposition whip. This needlessly precipitated insurrection forever cements Harry's renegade self-entitlement as an existential menace to the very framework of taxpayer-funded governance itself. The Prime Minister was ultimately forced to address the matter personally in a late-evening address to the nation, professing stern resolution that Prince Harry's unlawful debt would be recovered if full militarized intervention became the only recourse. If Prince Harry continues to refuse to pay back the taxpayer money spent on his legal battles, there could be severe consequences. He could face civil or criminal charges for failure to comply with the court order to repay the funds. This may include fines, asset seizures, or potentially even jail time if he is found in contempt of court. The courts could issue warrants for his arrest if he refuses to surrender and return to the UK to face the legal proceedings against him. His royal titles and privileges could potentially be stripped by the monarchy if his actions are deemed to have brought the royal family into disrepute. Financial penalties. UK tax authorities could pursue aggressive collection actions such as garnishing any income streams, seizing personal assets like property or investments, and freezing his bank accounts. He may be hit with compounding penalties, fees, and interest charges that continue accumulating the longer he refuses to pay the debt. Any future inheritance or income from the royals or UK sources could be automatically captured to pay off the debt owed. Diplomatic fallout. If the UK takes legal action while he resides abroad, it could seriously strain diplomatic relations with whatever country is hosting him and refusing to cooperate with extradition. Foreign governments may revoke visa privileges, seize assets, or even potentially detain him as a federal debt fugitive if pressured by UK authorities. Public relations crisis. Continued defiance could irreparably tarnish Harry's public image and reputation, seeing him branded as an entitled royal rebel. It may lead to him being permanently exiled or ostracized from the royal family and UK society. His philanthropic causes, corporate partnerships, and public standing could be severely undermined globally. Essentially, Harry is likely to face an extremely harsh legal, financial, and societal reckoning if he persists in refusing to satisfy the court's order to reimburse taxpayers for the substantial legal fees. Compliance may be his only viable option to mitigate long-term damages.